G'day everyone, welcome back to Brushes with Beck. This video is an unboxing video of the Faber-Castell Albrecht Durer pencils. Now the Albrecht Durer are a watercolour pencil. They come in that nice cardboard sleeve, as you can see when they get shipped, to protect them. Now I have already taken the plastic off of this, as you can tell, because when I received it as a Christmas gift, I wanted to open it up straight away and take a look inside. So, metal tin, hinged lid, pretty standard sort of thing. So inside there's a little ad for the Albrecht Durer Magnus, which are the wide watercolour pencils. And a little pamphlet. Now this is actually the tin of 60. I believe it comes in 120 colours like the Polychromos do. So there's only 2 trays. To display all the colours, with 30 in each tray obviously. And they're very nicely laid out. They smell good too, as new pencils normally do. So this little booklet tells us a little bit about Faber-Castell, the origins of the company, how long they've been around, where they've come from. It says Albrecht Durer is regarded as a pioneer in watercolour painting. So it's named after an artist. And the pencils, 120 colours with optimal light resistance that can be applied completely through painting for a unique colour intensity. So the Albrecht Durer Magnus has a 5.3mm core, which makes it better for covering large areas, I suppose, if you're doing larger paintings. And then throughout this book they've just got suggestions of different techniques that you can use to paint with these, and how to apply colour and blend out the pencils. So there's some really great tips in this booklet if you're brand new to using watercolour pencils, which I'm pretty new to it, to be honest. I've just done a little bit of a play around a couple of times. How to blend colours. And then at the back of the book we have some of the range of accessories to go with the pencils, the sets that it comes in, and then of course the listing of the colours with the light fast ratings. So, don't they look great? So if you've used Polychromos before, very similar setup to that. It says made in Germany, Albrecht Durer, Faber-Castell, and on the reverse side it's got the colour name in German and the colour name in English with the number and the light fast rating. So I did notice because I drew up a page for colour swatching, which we'll do in a moment. I did notice when I was writing this up that a lot of these colours in the Polychromos range might have a 3-star light fast rating, actually have a 2-star light fast rating in this set. And I suppose that's just the nature of having a water-based pigment as opposed to an oil-based pigment. So just be aware that if you're combining the pencils or using these, that the light fast ratings aren't the same as the light fast ratings aren't the same as they are for the oil-based Polychromos. And of course that's because, different binders and that sort of thing are going to affect how long that pigment lasts. So there's not much to be said about these pencils. They have a hexagonal barrel, which I guess makes them easy to distinguish from the Faber-Castell Polychromos. And I've never much liked holding hexagonal barrels. I find I always end up rubbing my finger on one of the corners, but it should be fine if I'm careful with it. And lightweight pencil, closed-ended barrel like with the Polychromos to help protect the pencils. And there's this, next to the Albrecht Durer name, there is this little image of a paintbrush, so you know that they are the watercolour pencils as well. So there's a few ways to easily distinguish them from the Polychromos, which is really nice. And the color range in the 60 I feel is extremely adequate. Lots of blues, reds, greens, a nice array of browns and sort of flesh tones, and then a couple of the grey selection as well. So a really nice wide variety there. Okay, so without too much further ado of just talking about these pencils, let's get to swatching them. So let me get that set up, and I'm going to draw in all the colours, and then we'll go over with the paintbrush and water and blend them out with the water and see how they go. So ignoring the fact that there's a cat in my shot and blocking my light, I'm going to go top to bottom, left to right, because that's the way I have laid out the swatches for my colours. Excuse me, little Jasper. So the paper that I'm using to do these swatches on is the Fabriano Artistico hot pressed watercolour paper. This is the paper in the natural white, not the really bright white. I found these watercolour pencils went down quite nicely, except for this dark chrome yellow that you're just seeing now. I found that one actually to be really scratchy, but the rest of them laid down quite nicely, needed a bit of pressure to apply, some were softer than others. And I actually found, when I use this paper with my Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, which are an oil-based pencil, I find that the pigment sometimes collects in little balls on the paper, and you get these little clumped together sections of pigment. I didn't have that problem at all with these watercolor pencils. So whether that's to do with the binder and how the pencil lays down onto the paper, that's affecting that appearance of the pigment balling up in sections. But I just found it really interesting that these pencils didn't do that when I have that issue with both my Polychromos and also the Derwent drawing pencils on this paper. So I'm not quite sure what that's about, but I like that it wasn't really happening, which is great. So just laying down all these colours. Sorry that these two swatches here are off the camera a little bit. I got a little bit carried away with what I was doing and forgot to check where I was up to. Moving through those blues there, you can see there's quite a wide range of blues in this set of 60. Probably more than I would ever need, but it's nice to have them all the same, I suppose. The light green was another pencil that I felt didn't go down super nicely, but I found that also with the Polychromos. I think it's light green in that one. It's just something about that pigment that just doesn't lay down all that nicely. So moving through those greens and into the sort of earthy tones here. There's sort of a nice small array of earthy tones. And as I said before, a lot of these light fast ratings are different to the light fast rating of the Polychromos. So be aware of that when you are using them. The light fast rating of 2 isn't a bad rating, and there's no light fast 1 in this set, which is good, but it's just something to be aware of. So there we have all 60 colours, and we're just going to go through and use a paintbrush with a little bit of water and paint over the top edge of that swatch there to blend out the colour, just to see what the colour changes to when it's wet and how well the colour spreads across the paper. So as you can see, that's going along all right. Some of them change quite dramatically, I found, and others are very, very similar. So having a swatch chart like this is really important for reference when you're working on a piece, because you might lay down a colour dry expecting it to turn out like something, and it turns out completely different. And I just missed a row while I was swatching. I don't know how I did that, but so yeah, it's really good to have swatch cards like this, and it's good to have the dry pencil next to the wet pencil so you can get an idea of how that colour changes. So overall, I really enjoyed laying down these pencils. They went down really nicely on this Artistico paper. As you can see, the range of colours is really good. There's probably, like I said, more blues and purples than I need and that sort of thing, but overall, really fantastic set by the looks of it. I can't wait to try it out. That'll probably be next week's video. I'll do maybe hopefully an A4 piece with just these pencils. So I'm really excited for that. Thank you very much for watching. Comment down below if you like this video or have something to say about these pencils. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week for another video. Stay creative.